A career-high 91 points for Mika in the season that was. We look at the last 4 seasons and what these two guys who just came in on our list have done. Prolific from both of them, and we give them both their shine. We start, Rupper, with Mika. You travel in player circles because you were a Broadway Blue shirt. I travel in fan circles. The one thing every fan says about Mika, why won't he shoot more? Because, boy, can he bring it.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that, and I ran into him last year before the first game of the regular season and was talking with him, and I said, what was one thing this summer that you try to focus on? He goes, I wanted to work on my one-timer. I didn't like my one-timer.
Excuse me?
What?
And I'm like, I actually think you have one of the best one-timers in the National Hockey League. But it just shows the level of demand that these players have for themselves. And make no mistake about it, Mika's a Benajed. When he goes, the New York Rangers go. He brings an energy. He's got the hair flailing behind him. And he is we say this a lot on this list because I think that's very important to me. He's an all-situational player.
Sure.
Like, he has turned into that.
Definitely.
He kills penalties. He drives offense. He's great in all different special teams. But the big thing, too, with him, I almost don't want to see him. He blocks shots and sacrifices his body, like, in a way where I'm like, maybe just a little bit less. Like, your team needs you in all these other energetic ways. Like, can't have you breaking a foot here. But I love his game, Johnny, and it's really evolved since he's come over from Ottawa.
Yeah, listen, what a trade that was for the Rangers. Mm-hmm. And I think he talks about shooting the puck so much, but he also had a great year with assists last year. And when you know that he can shoot it as well as he can, you have to commit to defend the shot, which then opens up passing options. And he's smart enough to take the best available option and talented enough to make the play. But make no mistake, his shot is world class. We talk about Stamkos, talk about Ovechkin, guys who can shoot it right shots on that Ovi's office spot. He's about as good as anyone. And he's not afraid to tickle the rafters. Like, his stick gets up in the air and he gets after it. Woo! And he uses a long stick. He gets down to one knee, gets a lot of leverage, a lot of torque. He's been the beneficiary of some nice feeds over the years by Artemi Panarin, and they have great chemistry.
That's a tough angle right there, too.
And, well, that's part of you can shoot it from anywhere, right? You can square him up, you can take him through the seams, you can be on his front foot, on his back foot, hard pass, soft pass, you name it, he can do it. And these all look very familiar, and he just powders them past goaltenders. The reason why his power play production is so good last 4 seasons, 27 slap shot goals, 4th most amongst forwards. So, he's putting lots of slappers in on net. And then last 6 years, 85 power play goals, second only Draisaitl amongst centermen. So he's a real threat, as you see right there, to score on the power play with the one-timer, with the slapper. And even when you know it's a threat, they have a hard time taking it away because they have other options on that power play. So he's a multifaceted two-way centerman now that plays, an important role for the Rangers' success.
It's funny because last year, this Rangers team lives and dies on their power play. And then in the playoffs, and remember the trades that they made at the deadline, right? They got Tarasenko, they got Kane. And unfortunately, they started changing their power play around a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, the one thing you got that most teams don't is that's 93 over on that flank, on that Ovi circle. And, I think hindsight being 2020, I'd love to see Mika in that spot, but that's what he's done. He's established that, and he's one of the league's best in that position.
One of the greatest challenges that players have when they come to New York, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, whatever, is fitting in and living up to the hype. Rupper, has Panarin done that?
Oh, absolutely. You talk about what he's done, and he signed a monster deal. Monster deal. He's highest paid winger?
For a long time, yeah.
In the National Hockey League. The stuff that he is done here in the regular season, he's come through. And it's not easy to do that. And we've seen that just in New York, in sports.
Yes.
Like big free agents that sign in basketball, football, hockey, baseball. It usually don't live up to expectations. Now, the New York Rangers haven't won a Stanley Cup, and that's been their ultimate goal in going and paying that big ticket. Right. But he's done his part, and he's putting up numbers. He's flirting with 90-plus points, it seems like, each year. He is an elite player with driving offense in the NHL, and he does it from the wing, which is impressive to me.
He's been exactly what they thought and hoped they were getting when they brought him in.
Definitely.
And listen, the city of New York, the New York Rangers organization and brand were part of the reason why he wanted to come to New York, so it shouldn't be surprising that maybe he's embraced the bright lights and the big stage and the marquee of MSG and thrived there. But, you think about how quickly the Rangers have been able to turn over the rebuild from the letter a few years ago to now being, a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. And he expedited the process. His arrival, Fox's arrival, all of a sudden they're right back up there. And he can feed it from the wing as well as anybody who plays on the wing. You know, he's a pass-first kind of guy, still will push 30 goals virtually every single season. But if you have shooters around him, if you get him on the power play with the puck in his hands with guys who can score goals, he will create opportunities for those guys to do their thing.
Yeah.
See Zibanejad, see Kreider, those guys. It's amazing what a great passer he is. And you look at him, Robert, you do Ranger games. It's not the biggest.
No.
I wouldn't even say he's the fastest. I don't necessarily see him stick handling around and through guys. He just sort of manipulates time and space to get what I need.
You come here, come with me, and then I'm going to open something up.
He gets you doing what he wants you to do when you're thinking that I'm defending him in the way that he wants. He's such a smart offensive player. He's fun to watch.
He's almost like a little bit like a matador, right? Like he wants to draw you in. He's going to step aside, and he does that. And one of the things he does really well too, Johnny, and I put him in the same boat as Nikita Kucherov, as far as finding seams that you don't think are there.
Right.
And the body language, and us, watching and playing games for so long, you see body language, and you see from the top what seams are open, and then there's a different angle that he sees. He either, kind of toes it and gets another angle, zips it through to Zibanejad for the one-timer, or he looks like he's going to shoot and zips it down right in front of the net to Kreider, or slides it over to Adam Fox for a one-timer.
Yep.
I mean, that's what he does. Everything that you're expecting him to do usually doesn't do it. And he does something that is unexpected, and that's what makes it very hard with defending Artemi Panarin.
Key, though, that the Rangers, with these guys who are so good together and some of the other, they got to go now. Because these guys are getting a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like their window to be at their very best, they're clearly still amongst the very best players in the league. I do think they only have maybe 2 more years where all these guys will be at their very best to challenge for a Stanley Cup. Good news is, new coach, lots of talent. They should be able to do that this year. But if they're going to get there, all the way there, with these guys leading the way, it's going to have to happen sooner rather than later.